there. Today I want to talk to you about 6 different things that can impact learning a language or truly any subject. Hi, my name is Rachèle DeMéo from Belle Terre Academy. These are 6 things that taking classes at school, at college, you're not being taught this, and your instructors might not even know this, but these are 6 things that do come into play when you're learning pretty much anything. The first thing is, what habits do you have? Are you more of a morning person or more of a night person? If you dread going to an 8 a.m. class because you're not a morning person, that will impact your learning. But if you're falling asleep on the computer like I do sometimes at night because you cannot work, well, you have to kind of know that those habits are going to dictate when you're best capable of learning. So by knowing your habits and taking some time to write out some of those habits, that's going to help you determine when you can best learn. The second factor that you should take in consideration is your personality. I don't want to elaborate too much on it, but a lot of institutions don't focus on the variety of personalities that exist, and sadly are very much in a box. But your personality is important. So one way that you can figure that out is think of one of the best teachers that you've ever had. It could be all the way back from elementary, it could be now, it could be whenever, and why your personality may have meshed well with that instructor. Think of it through this form. Was it that they had fun games and you needed that fun? Was it that they were very logical and gave you some facts? Or possibly was it that they had some values that you also shared? It could be a variety of factors, or they did something that really helped you learn, but their personality meshed well with yours, so you were capable of receiving it. So think of that and think of how your personality is. The third fact that goes hand in hand with the personalities are your psychological needs. Again, something that's not really taught a lot about, and I cannot elaborate too much on it yet. I'll do another video on this topic. However, each of us have psychological needs that need to be met. And if they're not met positively, they can be met negatively. So you have to look at what are some of these psychological needs. That warm cup of coffee that you enjoy so much in the morning, that's a need. You may not be addicted to coffee, that's not what I'm trying to say. But that warmth, that smell, the sensory may be a need that you have. Or perhaps you have a need every day to be productive, to have a little checklist of boom, you got that done. Or you have that need for fun. That highly comes into play with learning a language, because when you're learning a language, you could say, wow, well now I want to have fun, so I could play games in that language. I could be listening to music, sensory again, in that language. I could be writing, I could be studying for an hour a day, productive. So your personality and that psychological need that is associated with a personality will come into play with learning a language, or basically any other subject you can think of. The fourth thing is the style of communication. So we each have a preferred channel of communication, and the one that kind of works with every personality is a requestive, asking for a person's opinion, but sometimes an instructor doesn't always have that right communication approach with you. And the reason this is important for language learning is because when you're learning a language, you are communicating, whether it's in writing or whether it's in person. You are practicing the language with other speakers that are either learning the language or that are native. And so by knowing that communication channel and how to best communicate with them, it will help you establish that relationship. And by knowing what works best for you, you can also know yourself better in terms of learning a language and how you can best communicate with others and what you like to receive in terms of communication wise. So that's why that small little piece actually can make a little bit of a difference. The fifth thing is your love language. Again, I don't want to elaborate or get too much into detail about love languages, something that you could possibly look up on your own. However, I will say that our love language, we need to feel loved and appreciated. And there are ways that language could influence that. For instance, you may listen to a motivational podcast in Spanish because you're learning Spanish, for instance. And so that motivational podcast is actually is positive and telling you how great you are and amazing you are, but you kind of need that to feel appreciated because your love language is possibly words of affirmation, or possibly it's spending quality time with a person that speaks Italian because you're learning Italian, or it's going to France and having that experience and a person's helping you out as you're navigating through, somewhere, I don't know. So knowing your love language will come into play because you can also know how it can be met. And the last sixth factor that is truly important, I've talked about it before, you can research some of my previous videos on the topic, is your learning style. We each have a different learning style, and our learning style helps us best learn and retain information. So whether you're visual, whether you're auditory, whether you have to do something to be able to learn it, if you know how you best learn, then you will be able to learn in an efficient way and for a long period of time versus just cramming information for a test and then it's all out. So I hope that those 6 factors were helpful in helping you analyze how you can best learn a language or any other subject.